get going here. And we are live. So I see that Beth from Happy Place Crafting is here. Teresa's here. Carol's here. That's good. That's good. That's good. Because, of course, those two gals are the moderators that keep those live links happening. Um, my guest this week, and I cannot believe it's episode 25. Like, honestly, that's half a year, man. Is Sierra from Cooley Craft Corner.
Hi, guys.
So it's very nice to have you here. And we had a little bit of finagling to do during the pre live, just to sort of figure out what's happening. For anyone who's seen these things before, I'm in a hotel room. That's why this looks so different. Whoops. I always want to go the opposite. So there's the thing on the door that says how to escape if there's fire and all that jazz. So if you see me running out, something has gone wrong. Denise is here, and so is Susie. Susie is saying, "Nice to put a face to your name." I don't know. Is Susie you're familiar with Susie Allen, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, very supportive. Very supportive. So I think that as with most guests, I think I'd like to just begin with you maybe talking a bit about your crafty, artsy origin. Like, were you one of those kids that was, cutting, gluing, drawing on the walls? Or when did you get interested in crafting?
Well, I didn't draw on the walls so much. My mom would not have been thrilled. My kids do, though, and I'm not thrilled. So I understand. I sympathetically understand. I used to really like to draw fashion dolls, like they call them croquis. And originally, when I decided to go to college, when I originally applied, it was actually to a program for fashion design. So I've always loved the idea of clothes. And I went two ends of the spectrum. I either wanted to design wedding dresses or baby clothes, which, I mean, those kind of can follow at times. But I just love gowns. I would buy at 17, 18 years old, I'd buy wedding magazines and I would cut out pictures. And, this was in the early 2000s. I graduated in 2008. So a lot of the styles were very layered, a lot of texture. And I still really like those things. I still very much resonate with that. In my home and in my own clothes, I wear a lot of like fuzzy textural, I was wearing a chunky sweater earlier today. I still really like texture, but yeah, so drawing a lot as a kid, but mostly like clothes, or I would draw characters to stories. I really liked to write when I was little. It was kind of an escape, I guess. My childhood was a little chaotic, so I kind of like to keep track of. And I still have a few of my sketchbooks from my childhood. And
that's cool.
It was really interesting to see the progression. It started with like animals, which is funny because my kids that are around that same age now love to draw animals. So I'm like, yeah, you're mine. I mean, I know they're mine anyway, but they're especially mine.
Fruit of your loins.
Fruit of the womb. Sorry, I have an awkward sense of humor, but anyways, I have these sketchbooks, and it progressed from animals into people. And I always wanted to scrapbook and stuff, but we moved a lot, and I could never really keep a lot of the supplies I felt like that I would need. Yeah. My favorite things were I used to have a set of, the scissors that are shaped with a bunch of different designs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crafting scissors. I had a bunch of those, and I used to make homemade scrapbooks, which my mom was not thrilled unless they were like double prints of the pictures, because I would take them and cut them out in weird shapes and mount them and take my glitter crayons and pretend I was scrapbooking.
So how old were you at this point?
Probably like 10 or 11, because my brother in the pictures is about 3 and we're about 8 years apart. He's 8 years younger than me. But I really found a lot of enjoyment in that.
Yeah. So did you learn to sew along the way?
Well, actually, in high school, I did take a fashion design class. So my two like artistic classes I really focused in then was journalism. I took that for 2 years, and then I did fashion design class the first year it started. And we actually put on a fashion show at the high school, and we had the theater department help build us a walkway, a runway, and we all had to pick a theme, and we all voted on the 1960s mod theme. And so we had this whole like print off of different facts about the 1960s, like that Jello was created then and Pez, and we had like little snacks of the 60s out, and we all had to make a garment that was 60s style. And in high school, I wear a lot of neutral colors now, like blacks and browns and blue and whatever. And I like a pop of color, but back in high school, I wore all pops of color. It was like a rainbow threw up on me. And I picked to make a bright orange dress. I still have the DVD that had my mom's friend filmed it for us of me
Oh,
walking down the runway. But I got this really thick orange canvas material and made kind of like a structured 60s dress. Um, and that was really when I tried to sew. I had kind of tinkered with it before for an arts and communications class that I had. Um, I'm not super great. I did make a maternity dress this last year for my best friend, and jersey would have been easier to sew had I had a serger.
mm,
I didn't
yeah,
know. So
that's very challenging. So yeah. Uh, well, that's all kind of very interesting. The thing that I thought about, and only because like I have two grandkids, but of course they're boys, so I don't really know what's out there as far as girls are concerned. But I do keep coming across these at thrift stores, all of these publications for fashion design. Where girls can. I even have one here with me in Canmore, but um, so essentially, maybe they'll have a sketch of the torso. There's a place to put fabric swatches. Like things are getting pretty sophisticated now, and where a kid could, draw the outfit, maybe decorate it with some stickers. So it seems like if a person is looking in the right place, there's certainly a lot of tools out there, a lot of supplies out there that could help nurture a kid's artistic endeavors. Now, anyone who's known you for more than a minute or two knows that you're the mother of 5 boys. And so, are there, well, number one, like, I know that when I first heard that from you, I couldn't get over it because I was thinking that is, well, I guess it's either a blessing or it's cruel and unusual punishment. Not
I was
sure
like, I think
which.
that's flattering, right?
And I'm also thinking now that I'm interviewing you, you're probably also the youngest guest I've ever interviewed. I think Sarah was held the title before this. Um, but are any of those boys artistic, creative? Are you consciously doing anything to encourage and fan those flames for them?
I think the supply closets in my living room would probably argue yes, but they're all artistic in different ways. My oldest son is very mechanically inclined, which is amazing. He's fixed multiple things for me. My dryer at 14 years old twice. Um, he's going to be fixing a guy that he works for's oven range. So his brain definitely goes in those like methodical ways. And his first endeavors, like most kids, he would draw, but he really got into woodworking. And a cute story that I have is I home birthed my last baby in my living room, and I'm in the tub. And my oldest son is 12 at the time because this was 2 years ago, and he's 14. So he got into woodworking, specifically whittling. And I don't know if you know what a ball and a cage is. Do you happen to know what that is?
No.
Okay. It's a block. You take like a, 1.5 by 1.5 block that's like 5 inches long, and you carve into it where it'll look like a cage, and you have to carve around a ball.
Oh.
So a ball stays in it. Well, he decided to just do like a half of this. I think it was a 7-inch piece of wood. He decided to do half, and he was trying to make the baby a rattle while I'm in labor. And I'm sitting there going through contractions, you know, and my
The
family is,
wood chips are floating in the water.
thankfully, no. He was at least, again, methodical. We thought that out. But he was like, "Hold on, Mom, you can't have him yet." And I'm like, "Buddy, that's really not my highest priority, is waiting for this rattle, okay?
Yeah.
It'll be okay if he comes out and you can finish it up."
Yeah.
And it was really cute. And then after that, he actually got a pattern off of, I think it was a free pattern website of this frog, and he stitched a little stuffed frog with some polyfill, and I had to help him like hand stitch the end because he wanted baby Jay, Jordan, to have this little stuffy, and it's a brown one, and he sewed, I think, buttons for eyes and everything. And I have a bin I keep their like mementos from babyhood
Yeah.
and try to put in, and it's in there tucked in his stuff. So yeah, my secondborn gets more like, again, hands-on with his stuff. My firstborn, my secondborn loves to draw. He has like 8 sketchbooks. He makes stories, which reminds me a lot of what I would do, but he's very much into like sci-fi. So he makes stories starring his brothers, but in like different universes.
I just pause there for a moment because like there are 3 more kids to go through, but I want to say hi to some people. Susan from I Totally Love It is here. Gigi Hannah's here. Carrie the Paper Monkey is here. Not So Fast Joni is here. And pick it up on kid number 3.
Well, I'm so glad that Carrie is here because Carrie gets the next shout out in this little situation. So if any of you haven't seen a few videos back, Carrie the Paper Monkey made my son a dinosaur junk journal.
Oh.
And she mailed it to us and everything, and I filmed him opening it. And he has been gluing animal pictures down in that and in just another plain notebook. He's making his own junk journal by trying to write facts about the animals next to their pictures. And I'm trying to teach him how to do like just around the 3 sides so he can make it into a pocket. We haven't quite mastered that because he's 8 and still trying to figure out just overall, good cutting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carrie, thank you so much for sending that. He loves it. My 4th born, he is 5, and he's artistic, but a lot of the stuff that he does is very much not redone. Like he likes to color and he likes to draw, like he likes us to draw him a picture and color it. He's not super expressive in drawing his own stuff, unless it's a monster truck. He does love monster trucks, so that is like his forte. And then baby Jay is like trying to color all the walls. We're working on that. So yeah.
Do you know who Carmen Rosas is?
I'm not sure if I'm super familiar with her name.
That's a new name to me too. Welcome, Carmen.
Hi there.
So you and I have something in common in that we both had the privilege of meeting Carol this past summer in July. So can you just maybe, like I've heard obviously Carol's version of how that went. Do you want to just tell the group how it felt to be able to put a face to a name, to put arms around someone you care about, and have a visit with a like-minded person?
Well, when Carol first pulled up, I went over to my neighbor's house because she was parked across the street, and his yard kind of slopes up, and Carol and her husband are both much taller than I am. I'm only 5'2". And so they get out of the car, and I was like, "You guys stay there because now I'm on your level." And that was the first time, obviously, that I ever got to actually see her in person. And then I went up and hugged her and everything. And it felt like the first time of something that I've done a lot, though. I don't know if that makes sense. It felt like I'd known Carol, which we'd, conversed since I basically started YouTube. I started the Christmas in July swap, Secret Santa, and I kind of got to know her really fast after that.
Yeah.
And we both felt a connection. I call her my crafty mom. She's kind of been a placeholder in my life for guidance, and that's been really special to me.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, it's nice if you share those warm, fuzzy feelings. But the best part is you went thrifting together.
We did.
Oh dear.
I got to take Carol to the bins. She hadn't been in a long time. And so we kind of got to show, me and my mother-in-law and her went, and I got to show her the rope.
Oh.
The largest, couple different places, and now I sent her a picture of one of the thrift stores we went to the other day, and she sent me an emoji with heart eyes because it's such a cool place.
Yeah. I don't know what everyone is seeing at home, but all I can see is a black screen. But your voice is back, so I guess we will just continue. We'll continue talking and hope that the picture resumes. I do want to apologize to everyone for my voice. I don't know what's going on with it. I have hot water going. I have candy in my mouth. I've been
I think we're back.
Yeah, what was that terrible sound though for a while there? You didn't decide to do some vacuuming in between, did you?
I can't hear you.
Oh. Well, I'm still talking.
Are you muted?
No.
Oh, I can't hear you talking.
Can you read
that's
lips?
Strange.
How about if I remove you from the stage? I'm going, well, this is crazy. How about now?
Hazel?
No.
I can't hear you. Do you want me to exit and try to come back in?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So, Carmen, maybe while we're waiting for something to happen, oh, clearly you do have a YouTube channel because Teresa's put your link in the chat. So, people, that's an invitation to go and, I mean, not this minute necessarily, but to go and check out her channel and show her a little love. I think that the girls are putting in everyone's channels, so to stage.
I can hear you.
Oh, you know, it's like back in the early days of computers. You'd phone somebody for tech support, and all they would say is, "We'll reboot it." So that's still a good strategy every so often. So when Carol was there, one of your boys passed a Canadian flag. They knew that she was going to be seeing me next. So I thought that was such a considerate thing for somebody to do. So are you raising a? I guess the only way to keep from descending into utter chaos with that large a family and with that many boys is to have to kind of raise them with a pretty firm hand and have discipline and rules and so on. Is that sort of your approach to parenting?
I don't know if it's so much that, it's just structure. I didn't have a ton of consistent structure, but I wanted my kids to feel safe, and I think that's really important by building a routine, but not so rigid that it can't change. Especially because my husband's job changes schedules very frequently, so we have to be able to adjust, like pushing bedtime back just a little bit so they can see dad a little more, or I don't know. I mean, that's the most common one, honestly. But
yeah,
I think that structure helps. And I think that letting them feel accepted for who they are is another big key thing that I've worked at.
Yeah. And the reality is that even though kids will complain to high heaven about rules, limitations, the no's that they have to hear periodically, I think that ultimately kids do need structure and do appreciate it, because no doubt they have friends or are aware of other kids who are maybe running amok with no one knowing their whereabouts, what they're doing, when they're doing it, why they're doing it. And as tempting as that might seem to a kid, it's not a very good way to live in the long run. So
My son, I'm kind of strict with his phone, my oldest son. So all my kids have to come home and do a chore before they do screen time. And obviously if they have homework, which they usually don't. Um, but I try and practice that myself. Like I come home and I try and do my schoolwork and try and do anything that needs to be done before I just kind of go off and
play.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just veg, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think although there have been times that my son's come home from like state testing and he's like, I cannot do anything right now. And I'm like, you know what? I understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes we also need that mental break. We do need to be able to kind of disassociate for a little while of whatever was eating
Yeah.
away or stressing us out.
Yeah. Now you referenced your own, excuse me, referenced your own homework. So do you want to tell that story? Most of us, I think, know that you are a student. What made you do it? Why now? What field are you studying? Just tell us, how that whole thing evolved.
Well, it actually started kind of in therapy for me. I was talking to my counselor about kind of what practical goals to work on for myself. And I've wanted to go to school, but I always felt like I needed to be obviously as present as possible as I could for my kids. I've been a stay at home mom for the last 12 years. And so that's been really important to me. I homeschooled on and off throughout some of that time, and being as active in their lives as possible was something that, I really prioritized. However, my kids are getting older, and my mother-in-law lives with us, and she was willing to watch the toddler while I go to classes or I need to sign in to do them virtually. And I think starting it now in my 30s, obviously there are some drawbacks, but there are some bonuses. I've been able to work through a lot of stuff and work on like stress management skills, which I'm still working on because I have a class that's stressing me out pretty bad. Carol gets to hear about that. Poor Carol. Oh, also the field I'm studying is sociology.
Okay. And was this something, okay, you talked about wanting to be in the fashion design thing when you were finishing school.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not uncommon for us as people not to have any idea or what we thought we knew and wanted at 18 is certainly not the same thing that we want decades later. So this was a brand new, like this was sort of a U-turn into another area of interest, or had you kind of at the back of your mind always thought, boy, I'd like to know about the behavior?
Well, I have always kind of tried to figure people out, and I think some of that kind of kept me safe in life. I looked for social cues, I looked for body language. I mean, that stuff has always kind of interested me. And within sociology, I actually want to work in counseling services with it. And as someone who's been in therapy on and off for 10 years, I had to think about that for a sec. I have seen the value that it has added to my life to be able to work through different things in my life. And then fashion design, while I loved art and loved the idea of following a passion, especially at the time, I graduated in 2008. So I'm referencing that because that is the year that the economy crashed and the housing market
Yes.
went upside down. And so I watched some people that had graduated the years before me going into those fields, and the job market, the like percentage of
Uh-oh. And she's gone. In the meantime, I see that Jonna has joined us, and Hope, and Cuddy. I like that name. Pushing Up Daisy's Antiques. Welcome. Would you like to tell us what your name is? Sorry for, oh, Aaron. Aaron is pushing up Daisy. I don't, honestly, I feel bad, people, for these technical issues. I can only hope that she resurfaces. If you have any questions that you would like me to pose to her, oh, hi, Ange. Assuming she comes back.
Are you able to see me or hear me?
I can hear you, but the screen is black. But honestly, your voice is probably more critical at this point than your image.
Okay.
Well, truly, you know. Okay, so Pushing Up Daisies is Aaron. So if everyone would say hi to Aaron. So Sierra, are you still there?
I am. I can see us both. It's interesting. You can't see me still?
Yeah. Well, okay. So we should just soldier on here. So you were talking about the courses. So how, assuming you carry on at your current pace, how soon will it be before you're done?
Well, I just started full time and I've only done, I think, when I finish this term, I'll be at 45 credits. I think 35, 30, 40. I don't know. I'm going for a master's, so I have like another 4.5 years.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. So you have your work cut out for you.
I do.
So you've mentioned your mother-in-law living there with you. I would assume that she has been a godsend.
Yes.
Because obviously, you said, well, she's here to help with the baby, but it's not as though she would turn her back on, on any other kid that needs her. So, sorry, I only talk to the baby. So, does she also help with stuff around the house?
Yeah, we actually trade off cooking dinner every other night, which is super helpful to me. And we kind of just break up chores. Like if I know that the laundry is needing to be folded, I can say, hey, can you do that? Especially while I tackle other things. I mean, she's older. She's in her 70s. And so I try not to have her do stuff that like requires a ton of bending. So like I do a lot of the bathroom and stuff. So she never really has to kind of like bend down and deal with any cleaning of tight spaces like that. And then I'll ask her to like fold the laundry for me or something. And we work as a really good team. She's lived with us for 9 years now. Yeah.
Well,
so she's been there for my kids' births.
Yeah, it sounds, as long as there's mutual respect and an acknowledgement of each other's roles, then it sounds like the perfect situation, because that is how families used to multi-generational families under one roof was kind of how things went. That whole idea that it takes a village, and particularly with a larger family. So the decision to go back to school, was that one that had been talked over both with her and your husband and your kids? Because it seems to me it must impact everyone in the house.
Yeah, we all definitely sat down and had a talk. I mean, not all collectively together because that would have been a little chaotic, but all the adults, and then introducing the idea to the children, which everyone's been super supportive of. They know I've wanted to go for a long time, but really felt like it hadn't been the right time when I really started to consider it was going to, but then everything was all crazy, and I actually had a baby during COVID, so that was also crazy.
I think that, well, yeah, COVID itself was crazy, and I'm not sure that we'll ever be the same, to be honest. Um, so one of the worst things that I remember having to do was make lunches. So I think the least they could do is take turns making your lunch. Like, yeah, do you have to pack a little lunch for school?
I usually just pack a snack and then I go and grab lunch after.
So how is the large family, the schooling affecting your YouTube presence or lack thereof?
It's been affecting it quite extremely, actually. I signed up for a class called Intro to Music, and I thought it was going to just be like an art appreciation class I took where I was going to be learning about music and maybe music theory a bit and how to read music and such. But I actually have to learn to play an instrument that the teacher assigned. And so it's been challenging because my brain is not wanting to learn the muscle memory for that. So it's been hard. And I've wanted to stop taking this class because I'm just so panicked I'm not going to pass it. I do well at most subjects, but apparently music isn't one of them. One of them.
So is that a requirement to get the degree or the diploma?
The arts and humanities credits are. I just picked this class because it didn't conflict with my other ones that I had scheduled. So the class itself isn't, but it does meet a requirement that I do need.
So what are the consequences of dropping it? And well, I guess you lose part of the semester in a sense and whatever you paid for the class. But is that better than your mental health?
That's been debatable. I'm trying. I figured that I'm giving it till the midterm, which is halfway through the term. That's up until right before you have to drop it. And I want to see how I'm doing on the midterm. I mean, if I do well, then maybe and my teachers are giving me feedback that I'm not doing as bad as I think I am. I've done 2 tutoring sessions with him because I'm just so panicked that I'm not naturally grasping something. In high school, I was like in the honors classes and the AP classes because generally I grasped things. And so they would move me up, which was great. But this is not a subject I can be moved up. In fact, I need to slow it down.
Yeah. It could also be that the universe is just reminding you that you're not perfect. Have you considered that possibility? Most of us have to learn that sooner or later. Oh dear. Anyway, we'll change directions here for a minute. Angela has a question. She says, "How do you balance your work/life, and art to ensure you carve out time for yourself so that you can bring the best you to your loved ones on a daily basis?"
Well, I mean, aside from crafting, obviously, one of my favorite things to do is to go thrifting. However, I have accumulated, like everybody else, a ton of stuff. Like that. That's a real thing. And I didn't really notice it more until we were originally going to move this summer, which we didn't end up doing. But I had to pack up things and organize things and figure out what went where. And that kind of made me slow down on that and realize, like, whoa, girl, you need to calm down. You got a lot of stuff. And so for me, some of the artistic aspect is finding things that I wanted for certain projects. The sourcing aspect I really enjoy. So I've been trying to carve time for that, but I've just been really, really picky at what I bring in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Carol and I were having conversation before we went live, and it's true that um, the more we have, the more we can afford to be more selective. And it's also a byproduct of that, you know, little smack in the forehead from reality that, you know, sooner or later we all realize that I don't have enough space for all this stuff. And some of the things that we thought that we were really scoring with in the early days are now things that we would bypass without a second thought. So, um, so it has materially slowed down the amount of time and money you spend thrifting.
Yeah, I mean, with school, I don't have as much availability. Me and my mother-in-law used to go and do that probably like once a week. And then we don't do it as much in the summer because we tend to go yard sailing. So we'll pick a town because, again, my town is very small. So we'll pick a neighboring city and we'll go out there and we'll hit a bunch of things. I'm just trying to be like, and it's so fun to sift through things and see if there's something like, oh, I have something similar. I don't need to buy this. You don't always have to buy it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's slowed it down, the time I spend, just maybe the amount of stuff I actually bring home.
Yeah. Well, and I think that we, you know, it's kind of baby steps, and we need to give ourselves some credit for number one, the day of recognition or the moment of recognition, and taking those baby steps to kind of be more selective, be more discerning when we're, you know, parting with cold hard cash. Like, I'm on this retreat. We have a timeshare, and there's one thrift store in this town. Now it's you know, Canmore's at the base of the Rocky Mountains. So I would consider it like a resort city almost in a sense. And you know, where things like even groceries and everything would be more higher priced than elsewhere. And it just seems to me that the prices have gone up. And I was there earlier today, and I was really careful, and I put so many things back. And you know, $1 to $2, $1, $2. All of a sudden, I'm at $53. And I think I still made good choices, but you know, $53 could have probably, you know, been better spent in another way. And I saw this bin with coffee filters, all these packages of coffee filters. And I thought, isn't it weird how I, and perhaps some people in the audience here, think about things? I was tempted to buy a package of coffee filters, but then that means that I would take them home and I'd have to be racking my brains as to what do I do with these coffee filters, rather than let them stay at the store and use up something I actually have. So have you ever kind of realized that if we didn't thrift as much, we wouldn't need as many organizing solutions, we wouldn't need as much storage space, and we wouldn't be, you know, burning up precious brain power wondering, okay, now what do I do with this?
I mean, yes, I think that's where my love for sending out happy mail goes. Like, here, I thought of you. And I do this a lot, actually. I'll find something, like my son sending the Canadian flag. That's a trait that I definitely must have passed, because I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, I bet this person would love this. Yeah. And I still have packages for several people that are probably packed because, again, I thought I was moving, so things got shifted. Yeah. But I don't know. I've always loved to be able to let someone know I was thinking of them. And I think that thrifting has made that problem maybe greater, especially in the junk journal community, because there's so many people that have an affinity and love for vintage items, which is such a more prevalent thing in the thrift store.
Yeah. And if anything is going to slow down the thrifting and the Happy Mail packages, it's going to be the absorbent cost of shipping. You know, it's one thing to find these things at a discount and then realize, okay, now I have to add 4 times as much to mail it to somebody. Anyway, I just want to pay attention to some of the comments. So, of course, when Carol and Jeff came to Canmore, that's where we met when they came to Canada in July. We went to that same thrift store. So Carol is wondering if all the ironing boards are still there, because of course, you know, like I'm fair game because I like to iron. So I'm a butt of a few jokes. And then it was ironic earlier today, Angela was texting some of us, showing something that she saw at the thrift store and, you know, almost wanting group consensus. Should she buy it or shouldn't she? I played it kind of cagey, I thought, and I said, it's cute. And then, but should I buy it? And I said, that is the $4 question. Like, and then I guess the other responses were maybe lukewarm as well. So she put it back in her cart. Or she took it out of her cart and back on the shelf. So it's like phone a friend, eh? Teresa says, I walk around the thrift store so long that I actually end up thinking it through and putting most back.
Such a good idea.
And Teresa also has that very, what is it called? Something like spend no money or something. Carmen is saying, before I go to the checkout to pay, I always reassess. Well, she means reassess my daughter. I always reassess. So, and looks like that's something her daughter endorses. And Angela says that she does that too, but sometimes she rationalizes and thinks it would be perfect for, you know, fill the blank. So it's, yeah. You know how in a 12-step programs, people can have sponsors. So if you're, you know, on the verge of taking that drink, you can phone your sponsor. Maybe we need a thrifty version of a 12-step program and be each other's sponsor. Oh dear.
But can we give out milk toppers instead of chips?
Oh dear. Yeah. Oh, milk pogs. Yeah, sure. Oh, and Carmen also has a rule because of her small space. If one thing comes out, if one thing comes in, one thing has to go.
I have actually been implementing the same thing before I go thrifting. I'm trying to make 100 pieces of ephemera, which sounds like a lot, but I can whip out 100 ruffles if I need to. I haven't yet, but it's on the list.
Okay, but you do realize that 100 ruffles is still something that is probably more than you'll ever use and needs to be stored.
Well, I sell them. I've sold them on yeah. So I'm like, well, I mean, that's still useful. You're making them to sell them and get them out.
Yeah. If those projects actually work. I didn't say hi to Sandra. Blossom and Inspire. But I know that she had. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I did there. I watched a couple of her videos where she was going through and tallying all her unfinished journals, and oh my goodness, and I'm thinking, well, I could match her like 1 for 1. So, you know, we start these things and don't necessarily finish them, so it's, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else can hear it besides me, but there's an awful lot of noise that seems to be coming from your end, Sierra. Are you
There's
Are you
it's
doing
the mic.
something?
No, I'm just sitting here.
I wonder what the heck that interference sound is.
I'll try and turn my mic off and on and see if that.
Okay. Well, while she's doing that, I'll just, yeah, Jonna is saying, because Jonna, of course, is part of that group text as well, group chat. And she says that she was no help because she had just left the thrift store with over 40, that's 40 pounds of fabric. Oh dear. Now we've lost her altogether. Okay. Denise is saying, I may have to get a job that pays more than hugs and kisses from her grandchildren. And Jonna is saying, don't call her for the intervention. Yes, Susie, I'm at the timeshare. That's why the light is so sketchy and whatever. And you can see, well, you used to be able to see the stove. I moved the tea towel and some of the stuff out of the way. Sierra, some people are wondering if there are other people using the internet in the house. Is that maybe accounting for some of the issues?
I don't know. It's possible. My husband took the kids to the park. My mother-in-law might be on her phone, but I don't know if that would interact with this.
That shouldn't, well, you wouldn't think that would be such an issue.
Well, that, and I'm on data instead of the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi was being weird. So I don't know.
And honestly, what we all know about technology could fit on the tip of a pencil, right? It's like
for me.
Yeah, it's like the blind leading the blind. So you obviously have a thrifting, or you have the knack for finding a lot of good fabric. So is it just that the stores in your area are such that they always have a lot of good choices, or are you just in the right place at the right time, or what?
Well, I think what helps is a lot of my town is retirement community. There's
okay.
probably half our population here is like over 60 or 55 and up. So a lot of the fabrics that I get are from the time frames that maybe they started sewing in like the 60s, 70s, 80s. So I don't know if it's so much that I just get lucky. I mean, sometimes I have a bust and I don't get anything. I recently bought 3 boxes of fabric. Probably over 100 different prints, which I was super excited about. But that was after months of hardly finding anything over the summer. I found a couple different things, but nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden, just a bunch. So,
yeah. Jonna is saying that baby monitors mess with Wi-Fi.
I don't have one. I've never used one.
Oh, okay. Well, there goes that theory.
Sorry.
I don't. Okay, I don't really understand this, but I'll read it anyway. Denise is saying, I'm now getting shingles when I attend their weekly sale. LOL. Shingles.
Which sale? Oh, is she talking about the live sale?
Perhaps. I don't know. And I understand that you're going to be a guest one of these days.
I am. I'm excited.
When are you doing that?
November 18th. I had to think about that for a second.
Okay.
November 18th.
So what have you, other than trying to learn this musical instrument, what do you have any projects on the go right now? Do you have any journals in the works? Do you have, what is happening crafting wise?
Sure. So I am finishing up my friend's baby book. She wanted a book themed after Where the Wild Things Are, which hopefully everyone's seen that book. It's such a cute book. And I got a lot of inspiration from Pam Banny's video. She did like a 40-minute flip through of this beautiful journal she made after that book. And she made a lot of elements from the book come to life in a lot of textural ways, which I thought was amazing. So shout out to Pam.
Yeah. I don't think she's here.
I don't think she is, but just in case she watches the replay.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that, and then I've been sourcing and putting aside about 5 or 6 journals for cat journals. We have 5 cats.
Oh my God. As many cats as there are boys.
As there are boys. We have 1 dog though, so I mean, we calmed it down a little somewhere. But yeah, so I love cats. I've always grown up with them, and so I have books from probably the 50s to about 2012 that I'm taking apart and sourcing, and fabrics and stamps and stationery and pretty much everything you can imagine I've been looking for and grabbing.
So, and I don't know if this maybe circles back to Angela's question, but so what is a typical day like? Do you have classes every day? Do you? Oh, there is no such thing as a typical day. Okay, thank you very much. Do you, like, how often do you actually get time to craft? Or do you just grab stolen moments here and there, and it's nothing that you can really, it's not that you carve out time to do it.
I try to, but that doesn't always work. Again, I try to be flexible with the schedule because you have to be. I mean, someone ends up sick, or someone needs something, or my husband's schedule changed, or, you know, I mean, usually when I'm crafting, it's in the evening time when I have the energy, which lately I've been doing a lot of other things. Like yesterday, we just bought a car. So we were dealing with the paperwork for that. I got home super late from buying it, and I didn't even do my assignments for last night. I was just like, I had a headache. I mean, you have to be up for it. You have to feel like the energy is there to be and make something you're proud of. But I'd say it's probably like twice a week right now that I'm actually sitting down and actively doing something. Sometimes I'll fussy cut stuff. In my previous terms, when I was doing online classes, sometimes I would, just like this, where you could only see this far up, I would be fussy cutting or gluing things together while my teacher is talking. I'm in another
what they don't know doesn't hurt them.
No, but I don't have that availability. I'm in 2 classes in person and the music class online. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my schedule is pretty packed. And then Wednesdays is also usually full because I'm trying to do any assignments that are assigned on Tuesday and due on Thursday.
Yeah. It's it honestly sounds crazy, but then I guess that you know, that's sort of what goes with the can I say the folly of youth? You know, you're young and energetic and you still think you can juggle all these balls. And, you know, frankly, most of us did it at some point. It's only when you're, you know, when you look backwards, you will see that, ooh, that was a crazy time in my life. What was I thinking? But if you're having fun in the moment.
Hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. Now, I don't know into what detail, or, you know, like you did say that you didn't have any subjects that were off the table or whatever. And you did offer, offer the fact that you had kind of less than stable upbringing, 10 years of therapy and so on. Did you want to talk at all about how that has affected you, shaped you? You've already said that it has changed how you parent. So do you just, you know, in case anyone in the audience, either here or watching the replay, has that sort of thing happening in the background of their lives. Do you hear that sound? No?
Yeah, yes. I just don't know what happened. It is so strange.
I don't know either. if you wanted to just offer some life lessons learned from your experience, that would be great.
It's hard to pinpoint. I've tried to figure out how to make a video about why I haven't really been as present on YouTube, because I feel like I was fairly active considering having kids and everything going on. But in March, my mom passed away in kind of a tragic and sudden way that we weren't expecting. And it took a while for me. I'm the oldest child. I had to kind of go through some of her stuff and make some decisions on what to do with her remains. And I was in school, so I was trying to juggle that and trying to be there for the kids, trying to walk them through navigating what that looks like. My mom was not old. She was only 55. And, she lived a hard life. My mom was an alcoholic and made some choices that in the end, I think looking back, she would probably regret if she was here to tell me that. I mentioned my brother earlier, being 8 years younger than me. I grew up kind of as a second mom to him, or maybe a first mom to him, because my mom was not the most present, sometimes physically, sometimes just emotionally. And I think that's where my strong focus for that for my kids has really stemmed from, is trying to fill a lack of something that I didn't have and wondering if it would maybe change the course of them not having 10 years of therapy.
So is it just the two of you and your brother?
Yes, my mom was a single mom. My dad was not in my life for much of it until I was 19 years old. I had seen him on and off, but he also struggled with addiction and criminal background, I guess I should say. So he just wasn't available, some by choice and some by consequence.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously, the comments that's very difficult. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Hugs. Yeah, Yvette, who I interviewed last week, said that her dad was an alcoholic and passed away pretty young as well. So, and I'm sure you're learning this as a result of your studies too, that, there's obviously impact on children of alcoholics. It's a kind of a subset of behavior almost. And I just think that you deserve a lot of credit for not wallowing, seeking out help, wherever it might be. There's, for many people, there's stigma in choosing the therapy route, but obviously you don't feel that. So you sought out help where you could find it. And, and I think that it's important to stop some of this generational stuff that goes on as well. So by making, number one, figuring out the impact it had on you and your brother, and sort of vowing that I'm not letting this happen to my kids, whatever dysfunction there was sort of ends with that like with your mom's generation. Because we know, science knows that alcoholism is, there's a hereditary connection. So that could have been the alternate path that you took, but didn't, so yeah, it's just, it's really good. And obviously your husband must be totally on side with all of this as well.
Yeah, when we got married young, we were 19 when we got married, but I made it very clear that drinking around me was not going to be a thing. I couldn't pick who I was around as a child, but I could pick who I was around as an adult, and I could pick what environment I wanted to be in. And so he drinks on a rare occasion, like once or twice a year, and he always talks to me first to make sure I'm like kind of okay with it, like that it's not going to bother me.
Yeah.
My cousin got married about 10 years ago, and she was like, please do a shot with me at my wedding. And she knew my background. I mean, we're family, and the parent that, my mother and her father are related. So it was one of those things of like, okay, I'll try this, because I also didn't want it to like conquer me and make me think that I was just going to immediately turn into my parents by
Yeah.
trying alcohol. But I mean, I took one shot, and I think I had a half before some drunk person actually took my shot, which was fine. I didn't mind. But I didn't like how it made me feel. I've only tried alcohol like 2 or 3 times in my life, and don't I don't enjoy the
Yeah.
effects. I'm not a fan. It makes my throat swell. Like, bad time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's good. And it's funny how most of us at some point in our lives, especially when we're young, we do things that are counterintuitive, that are not good for anyone, drinking, smoking, whatever. But it's that crazy adolescent, immature part of us that wants to fit in, that wants to belong, that doesn't want to um, be the goody two shoes and the prude or whatever. But yeah, it's I think it takes a while, but those of us that can realize that the benefits of not doing a particular behavior far outweigh any little warm feeling of, well, I fit in for the last half hour or so, so it's just, yeah, it's not worth it. And honestly, I think that that people who I think attitudes around drinking and all of that have sort of changed over the years. I don't think it's accepted to the same degree as it used to be. So it's probably easier to, I think people kind of accept people's decision. So if it's 10 years later, that same cousin says, have a shot with me, and you decline, that's probably the end of the conversation, right?
Yeah, and I think she would have been okay if I had declined then. Like, I don't think it would have broken our relationship or it put any
Yeah.
bridges or anything like that.
Yeah.
But she just wanted me to be able to experience something with her that she was going to do at her wedding.
Yeah.
And so I was her maid of honor too. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll try this. Lemon drops are very, very sour. I was very sour.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. I drink as often as your husband does, so, and it doesn't make me feel any better, but it's one of those things. Anyway, Mama Juju is in the house. Hello, April. Nice to see you here. So what I mean, other than continuing to raise those children, finish that course of study, do you dare to set any other goals for yourself or your channel, or is that kind of one foot in front of the other, one day at a time? um, you're kind of in a holding pattern perhaps with your channel.
Well, I'm hoping that the live sale will help motivate me more to start cutting that 3 boxes of fabric that I bought and get better about listing. I've been pretty inactive on District as far as that goes. I was doing okay, like once a week during the packing phase during the summer. I would post some books, and because I mainly sell books and I have one piece of fabric listed, I've hardly ever actually listed on there for it. But I want to get better about that, and I want to film. Well, I want to film the baby album that I'm working on. I mean, I want to be able to show that I did this new thing, and I think it's kind of a documentary type of series for my own self, to be able to go, wow, okay, I did that, and maybe I did something new, which I did. I used some different types of papers that I've never worked with before. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's always evolving, and it's always trying to do new things, but not trying to do too many where you're overwhelmed and intimidated by the fact that, wow, this many pieces in the pot might make a really gross soup, and I don't want to I don't want to do that to myself. But I do want to try some different things and maybe film like the first time I ever did blank, because
Yeah.
I am fairly new to crafting, and there's still lots of things like dyeing paper.
Yeah.
I bought stuff to do it and I haven't done it. And then I bought some like natural dyes to try and I haven't done it. And I want
Yeah.
to. And I think it
Yeah.
could be entertaining.
Well, and I think too that even if whatever it is that you're videotaping or whatever process or technique a person might be using, there is no guarantee that a person is going to be able to remember that 6 months from now, 3 years from now. And I've heard it come out of my own mouth. I've heard it come out of other YouTubers' mouths that they look at that, they may be doing a flip through or something. Well, what did I do here? Or not even have any recollection of having done the thing in the first place. So I don't know. Are we operating on autopilot or what the heck?
I think sometimes when you get in that routine of making something, you probably do. Like, you get in the habit of making a pocket a certain way, or a ruffle. I'd say a ruffle, but there's really not too many ways to make a ruffle. So maybe that's a bad example. I saw Carol's video recently about her flippy flats that she made. And I am not super well versed in gluing multiple pieces of paper together and making it look as straight as hers did. I know
Yeah.
Carrie always talks about things being crooked, and I'm like, yes, I resonate with that quite heavily. But I just think it's really cool that she can show things, and you can try it, but it'll all be different because you'll cut the flaps in different places. So it's auto.
Are you talking about the one that she did for the Prairie Journals?
Lose you. Can you hear me, Hazel?
Yeah. Are you talking about the thing she did for the Prairie Journals with those uneven floppy things?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good idea. And honestly, I wish I was more
Yes.
diligent about saving videos with techniques that I want to be able to refer to and emulate. But most of the time, I don't think of doing that. And unless I drop everything and make a prototype right then and there, it's kind of like, in one ear and out the other. Carol has a question. Is she correct in saying that you had another channel, a YouTube channel, before your junk journaling?
I did. So I actually originally started YouTube back in 2009 or 2010. I had a makeup channel where I, at 19 years old, 20 years old, would try different crazy makeup looks. I don't have a lot of eyeshadow on right now, but I own like 400 different colors of eyeshadow. I really do like it. Yeah, I with my oldest. I'm too tedious to try to do when I was working and I was in school at the time. Then that's when I first originally started going to school. So, but yes, I do.
So is that channel still out there?
Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I also hear all that crackling.
Hazel?
I'm talking. Oh my goodness. Okay, while she tries to, okay, Teresa says, I learned to make a belly band with a sliding embellishment from Sierra, and I've put at least one in each journal I make. Teresa, because you are my agent, my number one researcher, and so on, if you could maybe send me the link to that, I'd like to see that if you don't mind, or a photo of how you did it. And then, my favorite thing is when Hazel finds an old project and then analyzes it to figure out what she had in mind. Yeah. Okay. Oops, device is not connected. Good grief, people. I'm so sorry about this. Now she's disappeared. I don't know if she can hear. Sierra, it says device is not connected. Well, let's give her a minute to try that again. You can have the best laid plans, but if the technology doesn't work out, it's kind of sad. If anyone else, assuming we get her back, if anyone else has a question you'd like me to ask her, that would be, this would be a good time to enter or to type it in the chat. Maybe you can also, okay, let's add her to the studio or to the stage.
Sorry,
Hello?
I don't know what happened.
It's almost, well, at least Denise thinks that the interview has been awesome and that it's okay. So, yay, Denise.
Thank you, Denise. I'd send you all the hearts like I do in the chat.
Maybe this is the universe trying to tell us that we should start winding this up. Do you, okay, so your plan, and again, I kind of feel like with YouTube, it's better to maybe under promise and over deliver, in terms of a taping schedule or whatever. But I guess it's reassuring to your friends and viewers that you're aware that you kind of have been, not there as much as you would have liked to be. And you have some ideas percolating for, sort of a series or whatever to start and to get back to it. But I also think given, given how much more we've learned about your life today and how many balls you have in the air, 5 boys, 5 cats, a husband, a mother-in-law, school. It's, obviously we can all understand it. I'm always in awe of people who have a day job in addition to a YouTube channel. And this is even more because you can't turn parenting off at 5 o'clock. Okay, Jonna wants to know how you store all your fabric and do you have a good way to organize it?
Right now I have bins that some of them aren't see-through, but I'm working on trying to transport everything to see-through because that's the most convenient. But I have some that have like laces. I have some that have knit fabrics. I have one that has all my Minky, like the soft baby material, cuddle material. And then as far as the quilting cotton that I go to sell, I don't really know. I keep all my Christmas stuff in one area, but other than that, I kind of just stack whatever at the time. I try and keep one bin of things that I know I've cut, and then I try and keep a bin of things that I have to cut. And that's about as organized as I get at this point.
And when you're talking about cutting, you're talking about fat quarters?
Yeah, like something I've listed for sale, something I've cut into. Other than that, it's been washed and ironed, sort of. Probably not as well as Hazel does it.
You need one of those ironing boards. So is that your normal practice that you wash all the fabric you thrift?
Yeah.
Whether it's new or used?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way. It just, to me, it gets rid of the sizing. It gets rid of any, even that old smell.
Some of mine still has sometimes a vintage scent to it. Nothing bad. I can't buy it if it's bad. I have a histamine problem with scents, and so I can't use anything super fragranced, or my throat swells up. Not like I can't breathe, but it gets very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I keep some in, like I have a bag right actually next to me of stuff like this is to wash, so it's not put away. It's just how it was at the store, and then I have other piles of stuff that I have washed. So I keep it in a bag, like a grocery recyclable bag, if I haven't washed it yet.
Yeah. And do you fold your stuff like Marie Kondo would, the organizing guru? if you've ever seen her, like how she folds t-shirts and so on, so that they stack vertically in a drawer so that you can see all your t-shirts.
I not with fabric. I do roll my kids' clothes so they can see all their pants and pick which ones they like the fit of the best. I do that, but not with the fabric. I usually just fold a regular fat quarter into, whatever square rectangle works out
Yeah.
that time.
And do you find that color is a big driver in how you sort things? Like, do you keep colorways together?
I should probably. That might make my life easier, but no, at this point it's mostly just by type. So I have all
Okay.
of like my flocked fabric is kept together. I have some pieces that are, I think, grain sack that were pieced together.
Oh, yeah.
Originally a quilt. I keep those all together. So not so much colorways, but more just like material.
Yeah. And given that you have such great fabrics at your disposal and presumably bought at good prices, do you prefer working fabric into your projects? Or is it something that you tend to hoard? Oh.
Can you see me? Hear me?
I can hear you, but again, the screen is black. And
Okay.
you might
I can
have
see you,
been,
so
you might have been out, you might have been doing tech support. Teresa was talking about a video where you did that belly band thing with something that slides. Do you, like, I don't
oh
recall
yes.
seeing that. So do you know how I could easily find that?
Ooh.
Or can you describe it so well
No,
that we don't even need pictures?
I've put a belly band. I think it's in a couple videos of flip throughs that I've done where I try and take a cutout and glue a piece of paper around it, but I put it around a belly band, like a bracelet on your arm. And so you can slide this element up and down the page by attaching the front and the back around the belly band.
So what might that thing be that's movable? Is it a focal point?
Like
Is
a
it
bird.
paper?
Yes. So like if you took a fussy cut and you back it with like cardstock, like a butterfly or
Okay.
whatever you want,
Oh, that's cool.
make that more sturdy, and then it's an element where it can move up and down the page or across if you made it, or horizontal, however you decided to do a
Yeah.
belly band. Yeah.
So it's essentially a movable focal point on a belly
Yes.
band. Oh, and Teresa says she thought it was a farm journal. Hi, Trudy.
Very well could have been.
So I think that given the time that we've been on, we're closing in on an hour and a half, and with my croaky voice and the number of problems we've had, I think we should probably begin winding down. So do you have any final anything final that you want to say, or words of advice to someone who may be coming up behind you? Like, I was thinking with those, as you were, going through your sons one by one and saying what their interests and their skill sets were, that maybe you're grooming some more male YouTube stars for the future.
My oldest actually did make a gaming account at one point, which is really like a gaming channel for a little while. So that's funny. He doesn't do it anymore, but they've talked about making channels. So I guess what I would say to someone that wants to start is whatever you really like to buy or to pick up or whatever, if you're going into crafting, don't buy whatever somebody else is necessarily saying is popular or whatever you think that people necessarily want to see, because sometimes what people want to see, they go to a search bar and that item doesn't exist. Like I have a video I want to do of a Bolo Books where it's this 1970s book and it has all these tear apart recipe card books, and I've never seen this book showcased anywhere. And if I hadn't just picked it up on a whim and looked at it myself, I would still be looking for maybe some of the more popular books that everyone talks about, which
Yeah.
those are awesome too. I mean, especially if you want to try and emulate something that someone else has done. But
Yeah.
I would definitely just say to look around and try and see what actually you like, whether it's a color that maybe some people don't. Red's my favorite color, so I do tend to buy a lot of red things. But I know some people find that color quite overwhelming. So
I love red.
beautiful.
I think that you've hit on something really important there. In last week's interview with Yvette, of course, she's running that consignment store, consignment shop for journals and ephemera, and has 25 or so artists with signed with her. It's there does seem to be definitely be a glut. Everyone and his brother is selling or attempting to sell junk journals, is attempting to destash, to have live sales, to do all of those things. And again, it seems like everywhere you turn, it's kind of the same stuff over and over again. So it does seem that people have to find a way to distinguish themselves. And it kind of boils down to that whole idea of, us just being ourselves, because no one can be a better Sierra or better Hazel or better whoever than we can ourselves. So it seems kind of more organic in a sense that, you're not trying to chase the market, but you're just doing what you love. And if it turns out to be profitable, well, so much the better.
Well, that's how I feel when I look at this color. I mean, occasionally I will buy fabric that I'm like, I don't know if I would use that, but I bet somebody's going to love that. There is an aspect to that when you do buy things to sell, for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I love the bright colors, and then I love the contrasting of like the olives in the background. It's just such a unique type of color pattern.
Yeah.
I wish you could feel it, but
I can't even see it.
oh, that's right. I'm holding it up, and you can't even see.
Well, but maybe the other people can. I do want to acknowledge somebody here called Retro Queen B Art. Retro Queen B Art. And luckily, Teresa was right on the ball and got her channel listed. So welcome. And Brenda Clark is here as well. So yeah, it's true. Like, I think we just have to have the courage to do our own thing. Every so often, and I don't know why that is, but it comes into my inbox. I became aware of something called Art Oasis, and it's free. And it's running this week. And I thought, what better time? I'm here doing my self-guided retreat. I have no one to answer to other than myself. I'm not responsible for anyone else or anything. So I signed up for it. And I also, to prove that the learning never stops, I also overrode the desire to pay for the lifetime access. So I have been watching all manner of artists doing all sorts of things. And, it doesn't matter if these are fine artists, art journalers, stitchers, whoever it might be, the message and the challenge is always the same. How do we avoid imposter theory, imposter syndrome? How do we create something that matters to us? How do we carve out time for ourselves and our art? How do we remain true to ourselves? So I don't know if it's too late to sign up or not, since it's Wednesday already. But honestly, there are those sorts of free resources out there that are really structured. They're probably a minimum of 5 courses a day, plus some just chatty type things. And it's been an eye opener, because I think we owe it to ourselves to look beyond our little circle of friends, our little blinders on kind of. Well, I do journal making, so I'm not looking over there at mixed media, or I'm not looking over there at slow stitching. We don't have to choose. We can. It's a smorgasbord. We can take something from everywhere. And I know you don't need another thing to do, but I'm saying it for the benefit of those people who might have a little more disposable time on their hands. So yeah, I like that, and I think it's a credit to you that you learned that, or had that insight, at this early stage in your creative life, because there are people in this very group, I would say, who are still struggling to recognize and understand that, and I count myself among them. So, Sierra, any final words other than that?
I just wanted to add kind of to the further message is that people resonate with authenticity. So I do think it's important, more than trying to aim for perfection, or again, what everyone else is doing, or again, what you think someone's expectations are of you, is to really just try. I mean, it really boils down to a simple thing, but there's so many setbacks for people of stopping them from wanting to try something they've never done, including me with this music class. So I guess I'm talking to myself as well.
Well, it's true, and the point is that, who wants to go through life as a phony? Where your on-air persona is different than the real person. I know I don't want that, so that's been my go-to behavior since the beginning. And another thing that, whether people are aware of it or not, have been tagged or not, there's a series of, or a hashtag circulating now about 10 things I've learned through being a YouTube creator. I'll be taping mine when I get home. It's just important, I think, that we get out there, that we do our thing, but that we also stay true to ourselves. So I'm just reiterating what you're saying there. And another thing that because of course, one of the luxuries of being here and gluing myself to this chair for, 8 or 10 hours a day, is that I've been watching a lot of videos. And one of the things that I came up with that I will be intending to take part in November is something called Trove, hashtag Trove, TROVE. Well, here, let me put it in there. Trovember. So, a hybrid between Trove and November. And essentially, did that show up there? So if you, I have 2 more questions I have to ask you. Now, Beth is prompting me. Okay. Trovember is something that was started by Kelly from Collage Lab. And I'd heard about it in the past, but of course, in one ear and out the other, forgot about it, didn't take part in it. But I was watching a video the other day, and someone was talking about sort of the preview to this starting. So essentially, there's a prompt every day. You work on one substrate, and it could be anything you want. It could be a board, it could be, canvas panel. It could be a stretched canvas. It could be probably a piece of paper. It could be, I don't know what I'm going to do mine on yet. I'll see what I have at home. But essentially, you use one prompt, you put it on this actual thing, and I think most people are working fairly big, like 12 by 12 or even bigger, but you could work any size you want. And by the 30th day, you've got a piece of art to hang on your wall. And I love that idea so much. So I'm going to be doing that. And because I loved it so much, I reached out to Kelly, and she will be one of my guests in November. So be sure to tune in for that.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
I always ask people, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert. Which I've watched some of your interviews. Most people, it seems like, are not, but I think I am, which probably benefits the fact that I have 5 kids, because that probably helps.
Oh, I know what I was going to ask about the kids. Is your family complete, or are you hanging in there? Or are you still trying for a daughter, or what's the story?
I think we're complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you people, you heard it here first.
Was that one of the questions in the comments?
No, that was running through my own mind. I was thinking, sometimes people end up with large families because they're trying either for balance, or they want to, they want the sex they didn't get or whatever. And how do you feel about purple? That's another basic question around here.
Purple's a good color. My favorites are the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, but purple's a beautiful color too.
Okay, good answer. The primary colors always kind of make me think joyful, youthful, whimsical, sort of those grade 1 colors.
Energy. It gives me, the idea of energy and life.
Okay, Miss Retro Queen B Art. Oh, and Gwen is here. I don't have a link, but it is, well, I can't put in a link anyway, but Trovember is the hashtag, and the host channel is called Collage Lab. And she might, I think she has an underscore between collage and lab. So I'm sure you can find it, or reach out to me via email after this, and I will hook you up. I think it would be a lot of fun if a lot of us joined in, and it sounds like it's not a huge commitment because it's one item for 30 days. And honestly, I wish I could remember. I don't know if I made a note of the person who was showing. This woman that was talking about it has done it for the past 4 years, and I'm telling you, every one of those things was so beautiful. And of course, it's totally up to to people as to what they oh my goodness, it doesn't look like I wrote her name down. Anyway, sorry guys. If I think of it, maybe I'll try to find it, and I'll put it in the community tab on my YouTube channel. Anyway, Sierra, thank you so much for carving out some time for us. Yes, Kelly is the Collage Lab lady. Thank you for carving out time for us. Thank you so much for the people that are here in the chat, and anyone who might be watching this in the replay. Sierra, in about 24 hours or so, you'll be able to share this video on your channel. So, anyone that you that maybe is used to going to your channel will be able to find it there as well. Again, apologies for the peculiar lighting, the setup, but I just didn't want to cancel just because I'm not home. So, okay, looks like Carol put in last year's Trovember playlist above Teresa's post. Oh, hey, Miss Retro Queen B Art, could you please tell us who you are, or did you already tell us? Did I already forget that part? Okay, Erin was pushing up Daisy's Antiques, and as soon as this lady tells us who she is, we can say goodbye. And Sierra, just for your benefit, people are thanking us. And just as a preview, Beth, who we've grown to know through the chat, Happy Place Crafting, is my first guest in November. Okay, so Retro Queen Bee Art is Vicky. So hi, Vicky. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging in with us. And again, I think we'll have to fire our production crew, because clearly they buggered up today.
Thank you for having me, Hazel.
Yes, you're welcome. And give those boys a hug on behalf of all of us, okay?
I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.